The first destination the team and I made was to Route 1. Route 1 used to be a place filled with beauty and tranquility, and since her former days has been transformed dramatically. We are joined by Professor Luke, who will give us more of an insight into the devastation and changes to Route 1.
Okay, for just to state your records, can you please tell us what your name is and what you do?
My name is Luke, and I am a Pokemon professor. Well, I was.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you do as a researcher?
Well, I conduct studies of Pokemon with my team of junior researchers. Well, we used to do that, at least.
Okay, so you mentioned the word used to. Can you elaborate on it more, what you mean by that?
Well, as you're aware of, Pokemon not only in Route 1, but worldwide, have gone extinct due to their numerous injuries in battle and their habitats being destroyed.
Could you tell us about the story of Route 1, what it used to look like and how it's transformed into what it is now?
Route 1 itself used to be a really peaceful place where the Pokemon were able to live comfortably. And it was an area where lots of strong Pokemon would grow. My team and I discovered at the time it was due to the serenity of the place. That's why Pokemon grew so healthy.
Alright, so could you tell us how Team Rocket affected the area of Route 1?
Team Rocket is a very evil organisation, and all their organisation does is exploit, sell and steal Pokemon. After several years in action, they've started building highways across Kanto. For example, this is now Highway 1, it used to be Route 1. Unfortunately, this led to a lot of Pokemon habitats being destroyed. We found from our studies that the construction machines gave a lot of the Pokemon lung cancer, and there was also cholera from the water that they were drinking. The mortality rate grew to about 80% in this area alone. Actually, a lot of the Pokemon around here became more docile and more territorial, and actually some, in a few cases, became very aggressive. For example, there was a case where a young 11-year-old trainer went up to a group of Rattata and they mauled him horribly. It was disgusting. And after this incident, that's what prompted the rangers to cut off this area to the public.
Okay, so Luke, as we walked up the bridge before, the camera team got a couple of shots. Would you be able to just have a look over the shots and just point out some key things for us?
Yeah, sure. Let's have a go.
Okay.
As you can see by the highway, which they now call Highway 1, you can see small amounts of forested areas on each side of the road. Each side had several species of Pokemon, including Pidgeys, Rattatas, and Ekans. Something I always ask myself is the highway that brings down travel time by 20 minutes really worth the lives of innocent Pokemon?
The team have travelled far across the Kanto region, and finally we have arrived at the former Safari Zone. The Safari Zone was a former Pokemon hotspot that allowed trainers to catch Pokemon of all types. We are joined by Bugcatcher Rick, a former Pokemon trainer and Caterpie enthusiast who has kindly offered his knowledge of the area as guidance for this documentary.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Give us some information on what you used to do with Pokemon.
Well, my name is Bugcatcher Rick, and I specialise in catching, training and battling other Pokemon with my bug Pokemon.
Alright, so Bugcatcher Rick, you said you catch a wide variety of Pokemon and you've got some images there. Can you tell us about them?
Yeah, sure. So as a Pokemon trainer, it's good to have a wide variety of different types of Pokemon for coming across the other types of Pokemon that you can come across. But as a bug trainer, I only tend to use 5 Caterpies as main one.
Yep.
Okay, so you just said it's crucial to have a wide variety of Pokemon, but don't you think it's a bit silly to not only use the same type but of the same species, i.e. 5 Caterpie?
Normally I would agree with you, but I'm working up the strategy that if my 3 Caterpies fainted, they wouldn't expect another 2 to come out. I'm hoping this will take them off guard.
Okay, but I have it under good authority that a lot of people in this area know that you constantly use 5 Caterpies, so...
Well then, I use my Metapod, give them the slip to surprise them.
Okay, so as you know, we're doing a documentary on the extinction of Pokemon, not only in the Safari Zone here, but all over Kanto. I was just wondering, could you give us a little bit of an insight, really, to how it's affected the Safari Zone?
Yep. So, the Pokemon population over the last few years has declined slightly. A lot of people thought it was believed to sickness or underbreeding.
Yeah.
But in the last couple of months, the population rapidly decreased, and a lot of people started to worry. As a result, hundreds of Pokemon trainers came to the Safari Zone for their really good quality Pokemon. They tried to catch as many as possible. I myself caught at least 30 Caterpies.
So obviously you know there's Pokemon rangers that protect the Safari Zone. Can you tell us what they were doing about the whole, trainers coming into the area and taking Pokemon and things like that?
Yeah, well, in my guide here I can show you which ones were the first to go.
Yeah.
So it was the Kangaskhan, the Nidorinas and the Nidorans, they were the first. And then the lower class Pokemon such as the Magikarps.
Yeah.
And the Rangers, they closed off the Safari Zone to most of the Pokemon trainers.
Yeah.
Everyone, no one could get in at all. And Team Rocket, they tried to steal quite a lot of Pokemon during the night.
And were they quite successful?
Oh yeah, they were.
Okay.
And towards the end of it, Safari Zone was just dead. There was no Pokemon at all. So this is a Rattata nest. At a former time, they would have bred and lived in this little hovel there, and they would have had babies. It was very cute.
Caterpies used to live here. Simply amazing.
So Bycatcher Breck, you've shown us around the Safari Zone and pointed out a couple of key elements. Is there anything you want to say just to finish up?
Yeah, it's a real shame what happens at Safari Zone. And I just want to say one thing. Where are all the Caterpies gone?
With the extinction of Pokemon, not only Fuchsia City Gym, but gyms all over the Kanto region were bought out by a massive chain industry called Snap Fitness. They converted Pokemon gyms into normal gyms for human beings. Okay, so with our previous participants, we've been getting them to state their name and their profession, pretty much what they've done with Pokemon in the Kanto region, and I was wondering if you could do that with us tonight, please.
Yeah, my name is Jack. I was a former gym leader of the Fuchsia City Gym. It's my job to raise, train and battle poison fire Pokemon.
At the gym now, I can tell this isn't what it used to look like back in its glory days. Could you tell us a little bit about the gym and what it used to look like and what it used to be?
Back in its glory days, we used to have all the trainers around Kanto coming in and fighting you. Not many were successful, mind you. We used to have invisible walls up around the gym. Yeah. Trainers could never get through it. It was funny to watch. We used to sit back and watch it for hours.
Okay, so you mentioned before that you train with poison Pokemon. Could you tell us a little bit about what kind of Pokemon you use? I mean, obviously they're going to be poison, but what kind of species were they?
I trained with a wide variety of Pokemon, but mainly Venonats and Venomoths.
So with the extinction of Pokemon not only in this area but all over Kanto region, could you tell us a little bit how it affected your business, like the Pokemon gym as well as the local businesses in the area?
Well, as Pokemon started to decline in numbers, trainers stopped visiting the gym. I was lucky to even see 5 trainers a year. The ones I did see all held weak Pokemon, especially Bug Pokemon trainer that insisted on using 5 Caterpies for some unknown reason. After a while, however, when the last of the Pokemon died out as well as my own, I was forced to close down the gym. What is the point of having a Pokemon gym if there's no Pokemon? Eventually I had no choice but to transform my gym into a gym for humans. We started introducing exercise bikes and weights to encourage people to come back. But as you can see, not many people are here. One of the key elements of Fuchsia City was the Pokemon gym. As it shut down, people stopped visiting and businesses struggled to stay afloat. Eventually they had to leave to other cities.
Okay, so with filming done, is there anything you want to add on a final note?
Is that a dog over there? Wait, you didn't use that as my quote, did you? No, seriously, don't use silly things like that as my quote.
Due to the severity and secrecy of this visit, The team and I were blindfolded and transported to a secret facility to interview this member. The member, whose name can't be given, is a former Team Rocket member and will give us a glimpse into his former criminal organization.
Okay, could you give us as much information as possible about yourself? We understand there will be certain things you can't mention.
Well, I was a member of Team Rocket, and we actively sought out the exploitation of Pokemon, as well as several non-Pokemon endeavors.
Okay, so can you tell us how many years you've been working with Team Rocket?
Well, I was in Team Rocket for around 5 years or so, but there really is no getting out. Once you're in for life. Even now, I had to go on the run to actually get away from Team Rocket, and I can't show my face still. There's no way out unless you die.
Can you tell us about what you did with Team Rocket? What scams and exploitations did you use for the capture and selling of Pokemon?
Well, we basically did anything we could to try and get rare and valuable Pokemon and sell them at the highest possible price. As a baseline, we used to just hold random trainers to gunpoint, and we just take their Pokemon from them, and if they didn't comply, obviously we've got them at gunpoint. But for the more elaborate Pokemon and rare Pokemon, we would come up with extremely extravagant schemes and use special devices and different stuff like that to try and catch really expensive Pokemon.
So you mentioned stealing Pokemon. Could you tell us about the plan you had with the Slowpokes and their tails?
Well, we found that if you cut off the Slowpoke's tails, you can grind it up into, say, a fine dust or a powder, and it's a sort of aphrodisiac, or in short, a drug. And so you can inhale it or just direct it straight into your bloodstream, and it creates an immense high and helps people really relax. So we continued this on for about 6 months or so, and everyone got really, really rich because this was just such an addictive drug, and it was really, really expensive, and we could sell it at a very high price. And so for about 6 months, everyone at Team Rocket got really, really rich off this stuff. But then this freaking kid and this old man, they stopped us, and it's just frustrating.
So could you tell us a little bit about the 3 members of Team Rocket? I believe their names were James, Jesse, and Meowth?
James, Jesse, and Meowth were the bane of our brilliant organisation, and they really did cause the downfall, ultimately, of Team Rocket. They were obsessed with catching a Pikachu. A Pikachu, one of the weakest and easiest Pokemon to catch. And they would come up with elaborate and expensive designs to try and take it from this trainer. But they always failed. They failed all the time. That was until they got on the boss's bad side just one too many times, and they were taken care of. This was a great joy for most of the people at Team Rocket.
What do you mean they were taken care of?
Well, when the bosses had enough of them, they were lured into Viridian Forest, shot, killed, and buried, never to be seen again.
Okay, so can you tell us about your former boss, I believe it's Giovanni? What was he like as a person? What were his characteristics? Was he a good leader? Was he a harsh man?
Giovanni was a brilliant man, just all in all. He was charismatic, he was a genius, and he was a brilliant businessman, and he took Team Rocket from a low-pedaling street game to just massive criminal organisation all across Kanto and Johto. But although he was a brilliant man, he never really wanted to get on his bad side. As with James, Jesse, and Meowth, he had a pretty bad habit of disposing of anyone who got on his nerves.
Okay, so can you tell us how the extinction of Pokemon affected Team Rocket as an organisation? Obviously, you're a business that's depended heavily on the presence of Pokemon, so how did you adjust to the change and the extinction?
Well, for a while we really thrived because of the extinction. We were able to catch up the last Pokemon, and even the most lowly ones, such as Magikarp, would sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars on the black market. So while this lasted a little while, eventually all the Pokemon did die off, and so we had to look at other, more traditional criminal organisation means of making money, such as illegal gambling, extortion, prostitution, gun smuggling, and drug dealing. So while this kept our business afloat for a while, it really wasn't the same.
So can you tell us why you left the organisation? What factors made you leave and seek out a life away from Team Rocket?
Well, after Team Rocket's change in business practices, a lot of my good friends were killed in gang-related shootouts, and The ones who were still alive got addicted to methamphetamines, cocaine, heroin, pretty much all the terrible drugs. I saw that my simple life of capturing Pokemon and selling them off at really high prices was just turning into chaos. The final factor was that my wife was bearing my future son, and I just figured it would be more healthy for me to get out of the organization.
Okay, so is there anything you want to mention on a final note?
We used to be here to protect our world from devastation, to unite all people within our nation, but now we're just a gang run by a madman who's got no values, just no respect.